All right, let's talk about advertising. Yes, advertising, that delightful industry that started with humble flyers and charmingly misleading claims about snake oil. Remember those days? Simpler times. Then came radio jingles that got stuck in your head for weeks, proving early on that ads could in fact be a form of mild psychological torture. Then television arrived, blessing us with smiling families inexplicably thrilled about laundry detergent. We thought that was the peak, didn't we? We were so naive, so wonderfully, blissfully ignorant of what was lurking just around the digital corner, waiting to pounce on our unsuspecting eyeballs and wallets with the tenacity of a caffeinated squirrel. Then, boom! The internet! And with it, pop-up ads. Oh, the glorious, chaotic era of pop-ups. You'd be trying to read a very serious article about, say, the socio-economic impact of gerbil farming, and suddenly, wham! Congratulations! You've won a free speedboat. You hadn't, of course. You just won a one-way ticket to Malware City. We learned to navigate these digital minefields, developing a lightning-fast close window reflex. But the advertisers, bless their persistent hearts, they were learning too. They were evolving, becoming smarter, sneakier, and more intimately acquainted with our browsing habits than our own mothers. Next came targeted ads, the kind that knew you'd once searched for a specific brand of artisanal pickles at 3 a.m. Suddenly, every website you visited was a veritable pickle paradise. Still thinking about those gherkins, are we? The internet seemed to whisper. It was a bit creepy, sure, like a shop assistant following you home, but mostly harmless. We called it personalized, which sounded rather quaint and helpful, didn't it? As if the internet was our thoughtful, albeit slightly overzealous personal shopper. Little did we know this personalization was just the appetizer for a much, much weirder main course. And now, folks, welcome to 2025, where personalized advertising has taken a leap so profound, so invasive, it makes pickle tracking look like child's play. We've gone from cookies in your browser to, well, something far more intimate. We're talking about a level of personalization that doesn't just guess what you want, it nudges you towards wanting it before you even know the want exists. It's like having a tiny, relentless salesman living rent-free in your head. And spoiler alert, he's not there to offer you a free speedboat. He's there to sell you everything else, and he's very, very good at his job. So, how did we get from annoying pop-ups to ads that apparently read your mind? The answer, my friend, sounds like something straight out of a science fiction B-movie, but here we are. We're talking about nanobot brainworms. Yes, you heard that right. Nanobots, tiny, microscopic robots, so small you could fit thousands of them on the head of a pin, though why you'd want to do that is beyond me. These aren't your friendly neighborhood Roomba-style robots. These are sophisticated pieces of microengineering designed for a very specific and frankly unsettling purpose, getting inside you. These nanobots are usually introduced into the human system through, well, let's just say everyday consumables. Think fortified cereals, enhanced bottled water, or even that suspiciously refreshing mist they spray in high-end shopping malls. It's all very subtle, very health and wellness. Once inside, these microscopic marvels are programmed to travel through your bloodstream directly to the brain. Imagine tiny Ubers, but instead of taking drunk people to Taco Bell, they're taking sophisticated surveillance equipment straight to your grey matter. It's an incredibly complex feat of engineering, a testament to human ingenuity, if that ingenuity wasn't being used to sell you more stuff you don't need. The nanobot part of this delightful duo refers to their size and construction. They are built from biocompatible materials, meaning your body generally doesn't immediately try to evict them like a bad tenant. They have tiny processors, miniature power sources, often drawing energy from your own body's glucose. Yes, they're literally feeding off you. And minuscule communication arrays. These arrays allow them to network with each other, creating a sort of internal mesh network inside your skull. It's like having your own personal, unwelcome Wi-Fi hotspot, broadcasting your innermost. Well, we'll get to what they're broadcasting soon enough. The primary function of these nanobots, once they've settled into their new cerebral home, is to monitor neural activity. They are designed to detect with the faintest electrical and chemical signals that constitute your thoughts, your emotions, your desires, even those fleeting, half-formed notions you're not consciously aware of yet. Think of them as incredibly diligent, microscopic stenographers taking notes on everything happening in the boardroom of your brain. Every flicker of interest, every nascent craving, every subconscious association. It all gets logged. And this, folks, is where the worm part of our creepy crawly tech comes into play. Now let's address the brainworm aspect. It's not a literal worm, thankfully. We're not dealing with some horrifying biological parasite that crawled out of a forgotten horror film. The worm refers more to how this nanotechnological network interfaces with and influences your neural pathways subtly and persistently, much like how a computer worm might infiltrate and spread through a software system. It's about creating persistent pathways for influence. These nanobots don't just passively observe. Oh no, that would be far too simple, far too ethical. Perhaps they are designed to interact. Once the nanobots have mapped out the relevant areas of your brain, the parts associated with decision-making, desire, and impulse control, they begin their real work. They can emit tiny, targeted electrical or chemical signals to gently stimulate or suppress certain neural activities. It's not mind control in the classic "you are now a chicken" sense. It's far more subtle, more insidious. It's about creating a gentle nudge, a slight predisposition, a feeling that an idea was entirely your own. You suddenly feel a craving for a specific brand of soda or an inexplicable urge to buy a new phone, even though your current one works perfectly fine. This brainworm network effectively becomes a personalized advertising channel hardwired directly into your cognitive processes. When an advertiser wants to target you, they don't just send an ad to your phone, they send a signal to the nanobot network in your brain. This network then translates that signal into a subtle neural prompt. Perhaps it triggers a pleasant memory associated with a product, or creates a fleeting sense of anxiety that a particular service could alleviate. It's like having a tiny, invisible marketing executive whispering sweet nothings directly into your subconscious. And he's very, very persuasive. The terrifying beauty or horrifying efficiency, depending on your perspective, is its seamlessness. There's no pop-up ad to close, no sponsored content to scroll past. The suggestion to buy, to consume, to click feels like it originates from within you. It's your own thought, your own desire. The nanobot brainworms ensure that the call to action is not an external annoyance, but an internal insight. This is what makes it so powerful and, frankly, so profoundly disturbing. The line between your own volition and a manufactured urge becomes impossibly blurred, all thanks to these microscopic meddlers. So, who is behind this neurological nightmare? Who greenlit the development of microscopic brain meddling ad machines? Well, take a wild guess. It's not your friendly neighborhood artisanal pickle maker, though they might be a customer. No, the architects and gatekeepers of this nanobot brainworm technology are, surprise, surprise, the big tech corporations. The same companies that already know what you search for, who you talk to, where you go, and what brand of toilet paper you prefer. It was, in their eyes, the next logical step in enhancing user experience. These corporations, let's call them names like Gugazon, Metabook, or Applesoft, poured billions into the research and development. It was all done under the guise of medical breakthroughs, of course. Nanobots to cure Alzheimer's, they proclaimed, micro-machines to combat depression. And perhaps some of that research was genuine. But the real goldmine, the real return on investment, was always going to be advertising. Because if you can influence thought at its very inception, you've hit the marketing jackpot. You're not just selling products anymore, you're selling preordained choices. They control the deployment infrastructure, the cloud networks that communicate with the nanobots, and the algorithms that decide which suggestive neural prompt gets delivered to which brain. They're the landlords of your mental real estate, and they charge a hefty premium to advertisers who want to set up shop in your subconscious. These tech giants present themselves as mere platform providers, neutral conduits of information. But when the platform is inside your skull, the notion of neutrality becomes a rather sick joke. They have the power, quite literally, to shape demand. And of course, there's a complete lack of transparency. Try asking one of these companies for the source code of their brainworm control system. You'll be met with a wall of lawyers and a condescending pamphlet about their commitment to responsible innovation. Responsible, they're turning your brain into a personalized billboard, and they call it responsible. The regulatory bodies, bless their cotton socks, they're still trying to figure out how cookies work. They are so far behind the curve, they're practically in a different dimension. This leaves the tech titans to operate with almost unchecked power over this incredibly invasive technology. Section 5. Data Hoarders Inc. fueling the nanobot network. Now, these nanobot brainworms, as sophisticated as they are, don't just magically know what to suggest to you. They need data, lots and lots of data. And who are the undisputed champions of data collection? That's right, our beloved tech overlords again. Every click, every search, every like, every purchase, every whispered conversation your smart speaker accidentally recorded. It all feeds into the monstrously complex algorithms that power the nanobot ad network. Your entire digital life, and increasingly your analog one too, becomes fuel for the suggestion engine in your head. Think about it. Your past purchasing habits inform the nanobots about the types of products you're susceptible to. Your social media activity reveals your aspirations, your insecurities, your social circles, all valuable data points for crafting the perfect mental nudge. Even your biometric data, collected by your smartwatch or fitness tracker, can be used. Feeling a bit stressed? Perhaps the nanobots can subtly suggest a calming new brand of tea, or a relaxing vacation package you absolutely cannot afford but will suddenly feel an irresistible urge to book. It's a closed loop of consumption powered by your own information. The system is designed to be self-improving, constantly learning and refining its approach. Each time you succumb to a nanobot-induced suggestion, it reinforces the pathway. The system learns what works on you specifically. It's like A/B testing, but instead of different website layouts, it's different neural prompts being tested directly on your brain cells. Did a gentle wave of nostalgia for childhood cereal make him buy the sugary flakes? Or was it the subtle anxiety about missing out on a limited time offer? The algorithm notes the result and becomes even more effective next time. This relentless data harvesting and algorithmic refinement mean the personalized ads become scarily accurate, not just predicting your desires, but actively shaping them. The tech companies will argue this is just efficiency or providing value to the user. But what value is there in being subtly manipulated into a constant state of wanting, of consuming, based on a profile assembled from every scrap of your existence? It's less about serving your needs and more about manufacturing them, ensuring you're always just one precognitive nudge away from the next purchase, all thanks to the data you willingly or unwillingly provided. Section 6. Gooning mode unveiled, the consumer coma. This brings us to a rather delightful or terrifying societal phenomenon known as gooning mode. Now, this isn't an official medical term. You won't find it in the DSM-5, not yet anyway. It's a colloquialism, a term that's bubbled up from the underbelly of the internet to describe the state of passive, suggestible consumerism that the nanobot brainworms are so adept at inducing. Imagine a state where your critical thinking regarding purchases is, shall we say, on a permanent coffee break. That's gooning mode. It's a state of blissful, unthinking acquisition. In gooning mode, individuals find themselves making purchasing decisions with little to no conscious deliberation. The urge to buy a product simply appears, fully formed and seemingly organic, and is acted upon almost immediately. The usual mental checks and balances. Do I need this? Can I afford this? Is this ethically sourced unicorn jerky really a practical snack? Are bypassed. The nanobots, having already primed the desire and suppressed the usual cognitive friction, make the path from impulse to add to cart incredibly smooth. It's like your brain's shopping channel is always on and the remote is lost. The effects are subtle at first. Maybe you just buy a few more things online than you used to. You find your pantry inexplicably full of that new brand of artisanal air-popped water that everyone suddenly seems to be raving about, thanks to a coordinated nanobot campaign, of course. But over time, this gooning mode becomes a more persistent state. Decision fatigue is a thing of the past, because decisions are barely being made, they're being received. People in this state often report feeling a strange sense of calm, a lack of the usual anxiety associated with making choices, which is in itself deeply unsettling. This isn't about people being stupid, it's about a technology that is specifically designed to circumvent rational thought. The nanobots are playing chess, while your conscious mind is still trying to figure out how the horsey piece moves. Gooning mode is the logical endpoint of advertising that doesn't just want your attention, but wants to direct your intentions. It's a consumer coma, a waking slumber where the only dreams are of new products, whispered into your mind by your microscopic, commercially minded brain buddies. Sounds relaxing, doesn't it, in the most horrifying way imaginable? Section 7. The Gooned Masses, a Society on Autopilot. When gooning mode isn't just an isolated incident but a widespread societal condition, the implications are, to put it mildly, rather bleak. Imagine entire populations gently guided by the invisible hand of nanobot-driven consumerism. Economic trends would no longer be shaped by genuine need or innovation, but by the whims of whichever corporation has the biggest advertising budget to pump into the neural network. The stock market could become a puppet show, its strings pulled by coordinated desire manufacturing campaigns. Everyone suddenly wants to invest in novelty sock companies. It's a mystery. No, it's not a mystery, it's a targeted nanobot push. Social cohesion also takes a hit. When individual desires are constantly being manufactured and catered to on a micro level, the common ground for shared experiences and values shrinks. Everyone is in their own personalized consumption bubble, their thoughts gently curated to align with their pre-programmed purchasing profile. Political discourse? Meaningful debate? Good luck with that when a significant portion of the populace is more concerned with the imminent release of the latest smart toaster, an urge carefully implanted that morning by their friendly neighborhood brainworms. It's hard to rally people for a cause when they're blissfully sedated by an endless stream of minor manufactured wants. Productivity, ironically, might even seem to increase in certain sectors. People in gooning mode are often less troubled by existential angst or complex problem-solving, making them rather efficient cogs in the corporate machine, especially if their job involves tasks that can be gamified with consumption-based rewards. Meet your sales target and unlock a powerful desire for this premium coffee blend. The desire for genuine achievement could be subtly replaced by the desire for the next advertised goodie, a carrot dangled not in front of your nose but directly in your neural pathways. And what about dissent? What about questioning the system? If the very tools that shape your thoughts are controlled by the entities you might want to question, how do you even begin to form a coherent objection? The nanobots could theoretically subtly dampen feelings of discontent or steer them towards harmless consumerist outlets. Feeling angry about corporate greed? Here's an irresistible urge to buy an anti-establishment t-shirt manufactured by that same corporation. The system becomes self-perpetuating, a society on autopilot, heading wherever the advertisers dictate, all while believing it's choosing its own direction. Section 8. The pre-crime of purchase, manipulating you before you think. This is where it gets truly fundamentally creepy. The nanobot brainworms aren't just reacting to your thoughts, they are, in many cases, acting your conscious thoughts fully form. Think of it as a precognitive intervention. Your brain might be starting to assemble the neural signals that would lead to a thought like, I'm feeling a bit bored, or maybe I should save more money. But before that thought can crystallize and reach your conscious awareness, the nanobots step in. They detect the nascent pattern and gently redirect it. So instead of I'm bored, the feeling is subtly morphed into, I suddenly have an urge to check out that new streaming service the nanobots are telling me everyone is talking about. Instead of I should save money, it becomes, wow, that limited time offer on the ultra deluxe gadget package is too good to pass up. It's practically an investment. The system doesn't wait for you to have a problem it can solve with a product. It subtly redefines your burgeoning feelings into problems that only a purchase can solve. It's like a thought police, but instead of arresting you for wrong think, they just edit your thoughts into buy think. This preemptive manipulation makes it incredibly difficult to recognize that you're being influenced. If an ad pops up on your screen, you know it's an ad. You can choose to ignore it, critique it, or even, heaven forbid, click on it. But when the suggestion to buy is woven into the very fabric of your emerging consciousness, it feels completely authentic. It feels like idea. This is the holy grail for advertisers, to make their message indistinguishable from your own internal monologue. And with nanobot brainworms, they've pretty much achieved it. The implications for free will are, shall we say, significant. If your desires can be shaped and directed before you're even consciously aware of them, how much of your decision-making is truly your own? Are you choosing your path, or are you walking a path subtly paved for you by algorithms and micro-machines lodged in your grey matter? It's a profound philosophical question, but one with very practical, everyday consequences, like why you suddenly own 3 different brands of smart water bottles when you barely drank tap water before. The pre-crime here isn't a future misdeed, it's the preemption of your own independent thought about a purchase. Section 9, our nanobot future utopia or clickbait dystopia. So where does this all lead? What's the endgame for a society riddled with nanobot brainworms, all happily gooning away in a state of perpetual manufactured desire? Well, the companies selling this technology and selling access to your brain through it will paint a picture of a utopian future. A world without friction, where your needs are anticipated and met before you even voice them. A world of perfect convenience, where you're always delighted by the next suggested purchase because it's so you. They'll call it hyper-personalization, the ultimate customer service, but let's be honest, it sounds less like a utopia and more like a particularly insidious clickbait dystopia. A world where human autonomy is quietly eroded, one precognitive suggestion at a time. Where culture is driven not by creativity and genuine human connection, but by algorithmically generated trends designed to sell more units. Imagine art, music, literature, all subtly shaped to align with what the nanobot network deems most likely to induce a purchase-related dopamine hit. It's a recipe for a bland, homogeneous, and endlessly consumptive future, where the deepest human experiences are replaced by shallow, fleeting desires for the next shiny object. The ethical considerations are staggering, and we are so far behind in even beginning to address them. Who owns your thoughts if a nanobot suggests an idea that leads to $1 billion invention? Who gets the patent? If a person commits a crime under the influence of a poorly calibrated or maliciously targeted neural prompt, who is culpable? These aren't just abstract philosophical debates anymore. They are urgent questions for a world where the technology to directly interface with and influence the human brain on a mass scale is already being deployed. And the answer right now seems to be whoever has the best lawyers and the most server capacity. Ultimately, the future of nanobot brainworms and their impact on society depends on whether we can wake up from the gooning mode they are so eager to induce. It requires a level of critical thinking and societal awareness that this very technology is designed to subtly undermine. We need robust regulation, ethical guidelines develop the influence of the companies profiting from this, and a public conversation about the limits of personalization. Otherwise, we risk becoming a society that willingly, even blissfully, outsources its desires, its decisions, and perhaps even its very humanity to the highest bidder in the neural marketplace. And that, folks, is a truly terrifying thought, assuming you're still allowed to have one of your own.